Hi everybody and welcome to today's webinar on Flat for Education. Our goal today is to get you off the ground as quickly as possible and make sure that you have a seamless experience. My name is Mason and I will be your customer success guide today, and let's get straight into it. Firstly, when you sign up, we recommend using your EDU email so that any setup that you do, you're not going to have to repeat. Let's say if you started with a test account. So inside of the product, the first thing you'll be greeted with is this wonderful welcome page, which you can use as a point of reference. It contains video tutorials, help, and let's say the key steps that will get you off the ground. So firstly is create a class. There's explore the resource library, create a score, and sync with your LMS. We'll touch on each of these briefly, and at the end, if there's any questions, we'll try to answer them for you. On the left side of the screen, you'll see your main navigation menu, which contains these items, which many of them are in the checklist here, and will allow you to alter settings, but we're going to start with the classes. In the classes, you can see here, we've got some demos made. And if you want to create a new class, it's just as simple as clicking create a new class. And then you can manually create a class and assign it a name or create it through an LMS. For time's sake, I'm going to jump over here to a different demo class that has a demo account which has a lot of classes in it, and you can see the organization here. Each class has its own title, its icon based off of how it was created. It tells you how many students and how many assignments are within this class. If we open one up, you can see here that we've got firstly a stream where you can publish things to your class. Let's say you've got a test on Tuesday, or you've assigned new work. Your students will see all of this. You can attach files, scores, links to things, and it creates a seamless experience for you to communicate with your students via the platform. And this is cross-compatible, obviously, with your Google Stream or your LMS. Next up, you've got your assignments. This is the work that you've assigned to your class and that they're going to be completing and submitting to you. Once they've submitted it, it's going to come here to review tabs where you can open them, you can review them, and you can give them a grade. We'll touch on assignments a bit more in just a moment, and we'll continue now through the classes. Lastly, you have the People tab. This is where you're going to manage your teachers and your students. If you want to add more, you can simply press on the Add button and hit Add Teachers or Admins. Now, the next part we're going to touch on is one of the coolest, and it's the origin, let's say, of Flat and Flat for Education, which is the score library and music editor. Inside of the score library on the left, you'll have a place to organize all of your sheet music, which you can upload in XML and MIDI and organize them as you see fit. And all of these scores can then be used for assignments and activities for your students. Now, if we want to create a new score tab, we can come in here, select whatever instruments we want. We've got many brilliant instruments. We've even got fun ones down to cat meows if you really want to get creative for your kids. And you can select as many as you like and create that score. Now, inside of the score editor, you've got everything that you could expect. We've taken all of this old legacy experience of creating music online and these different platforms that make it complicated and convoluted with so many buttons, and we've streamlined it down to include all of the tools you could need, but in a much cleaner and more concise format. Inside of the editor, you'll see there's even a touch keyboard. All of this is touch compatible, so it will work on Chromebooks, iPads, etc., and your students will be able to have a really sensory experience as they create music. You've got your different sections here containing the different tools that you may want to use. You've got important features hidden here under layouts and styles, where you can do things like color the note heads, boom whackers, solfege. You can change the music font, change the chord styles to match how you want to teach, and even change the text styles. So this is a great place to start. So you can create a layout that you will use with your students or that you use in your class and keep a consistent experience. We won't go too much into depth on the editor. We've got some tutorials and videos that we will link out to in our email that we'll send you after this webinar, and you can check on those. And again, if you have any questions, just shoot us an email and we'll be happy to help. One of the last things I want to point out before we move on to the bread and butter of our platform, which is the assignments, is that here you've got a share link and you can invite teachers, students, anyone in your organization to collaborate with you on a score in real time, which allows you to really get the most out of this writing experience, whether you're in the classroom and everyone's working from a device, or if they are remote and you're working with people in different places. It's a very cool feature, and you can communicate via things like inline comments and say, I love this part. Boom, and your collaborators will then see these comments and you can communicate directly in the score and really have a seamless experience wherever you are. And don't worry, with collaborators comes the ability to, let's say, overwrite work or accidentally delete things, but Flat for Education is built in with a full history where you can go back, see different versions, and it's automatically saved as you progress through. So no worries there. Now, let's go back into the platform and we're going to take a look at the assignments, which is why many of you are here, as this is an absolutely powerful tool to save you as much time as you can imagine. We've got 3 different assignment types. We've got performance, composition, and worksheet assignments. Now, we've preloaded some samples here for you, so if you feel a bit lost or you need some inspiration, we've put some in there, and we're working to always update this and add more assignments to give you, let's say, more to work with. Starting with, let's say, composition assignments. Composition assignments are very straightforward. You have the ability to create a score and use that score as the assignment. So let's say something very simple here, color the notes. You've got the instructions, color all the G notes in red, B notes in yellow, etc. And you can experience these as a student by clicking here on Student Preview. So you can see, let's say, what your students are going to work with. And inside of this, you'll see here the editor with the instructions for your students and the tools in order to color the notes. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, how do I create this? Well, inside of the assignments, you've got the ability to create a new assignment. We've got the types here. We're focusing on composition, so we'll start with that. Inside, you're going to give it a name. Let's say testing 1. The assignments are going to be saved to your resource library, which is where we just were. And you've got 3 variations here. You've got a new score, you've got a template, and you've got shared writing. Each of these have their, let's say, advantages and unique uses. A new score is if you want your students, let's say, to create a unique piece with, let's say, little guidance from the platform. You've got template, which is where you'll add a work score, which is using a score that you yourself have created or uploaded. And you can basically select that score. Your students will start with that template. And from there, they're going to do whatever your instructions are, whether it's, okay, complete this piece, make corrections, transpose this, whatever you want to do, you can assign this here. You can lock the template, which would allow you to, let's say, make sure they can't adjust the notes you've already put. And lastly, this is an amazing accessibility feature, which I've already seen some questions for. You're able to pick a tool set. Now, a tool set is the ability to restrict the tools that your students can have in the editor. In here, you'll come in, you'll say, okay, I want them to be able to add a note, and I want them to be able to use just flat. You'll set this as a name, say flat notes. You'll hit save. Now, once this score is created, they will only be able to use those features, which is fantastic, and it allows you to really customize the difficulty and the intensity of the exercise that you're giving to your students. You then will set a playback limit, let's say 4 times. Let's say you want them not to be able to listen to the score and you want to make it a little challenging. You can do so. Let's say here, activities. Let's put teacher 1 here as the template. All right. Now, you can either save this to your resource library or use this in class. What's amazing here is that you can select, okay, I need it in my 4th grade, 5th grade, and 6th grade classes, and you're going to hit confirm. The next step is to add the publication dates when you want it to go out to your students, and customize which students you want to have it, as well as due date. Keep in mind that all of this information will be displayed in your LMS, and your students will get this invitation to work on this assignment directly from within the LMS, and you're going to go ahead and hit publish. Now, it's as easy as that. Your first assignment has now been assigned to those 3 classes, which is absolutely astonishing that in just a few minutes, we were able to get work and have your students focused on something straight away. Now, it's important to touch on the other types of assignments as well. We understand in basic what the composition assignments can do. Let's look at one of the fan favorites, which is our worksheet assignments. In the worksheet assignments, you're able to create auto-graded, interactive quizzes and activities for your students. For example, here we've got one based on harmony, choosing the mode of the scale, and you can create as difficult or as simple as you desire. If we go back and create one for ourselves for new, we can say demo 2, and then we're going to go down and we're going to add some exercises. We've put together a collection of, let's say, topics that you can use. And again, it can be very complex or very simple. Let's start with pitch recognition. And inside, you'll select what clefs you would like to be included. You can select what keys you'd like to be included. And then say, I want 5 exercises and I want them to be worth 2 points each. Hit add, and the software will generate this for you and have it ready to go. And again, once you've created this assignment and you're happy with what you've done, you're going to head and use it in class and go through the publication process that we've just shown. These again are very tailored to, let's say, who you want to give it to, and you can make them very, very simple or very, very complex that would stump even your top music teachers. We've done it at a few events and it's always been a blast. Lastly, we've got the sample performance assignments where you can take a look through. And inside of these sample assignments, you can see what you can do with a performance assignment. This is all about giving your students a score or a piece of music or something to work with, and they're going to record themselves completing the assignment or the task and submit it to you. You'll be able to listen back to it and give them feedback, gradings, check pitch, key, rhythm, all of these things. The one I'm showing you now is an example rhythm assignment where the students are going to, let's say, clap their hands with the rhythm. And here at the top, they've got a microphone where they're going to record themselves completing this. And when they're finished, they're going to submit it to you here at the top under turn in. So let's say they've got the recording here. They're going to save it. And now they're going to turn it into you. They can, of course, record more, they can play it back, they can remove it, etc. But it gives you a really interactive space to get your students to perform, whether they're in the classroom or out. And there's no limit to what you can do with it. Again, I highly recommend exploring some of the samples. And when you're ready to create your own, you just go to Create Worksheet, and here you've got Performance. Now, we've gone through the resource library, we've gone through the classes, the tool sets we touched on basically, and here you can manage those tool sets that you can use in your assignments. We've got some here, kind of an explanation and a place to create your tool sets outside of the assignments to manage them. Now, lastly, inside of this side bar here, you've got your billing section where you'll be able to manage your billing. It'll show you how long your trial is. If you're still in trial, it'll show you the license breakdown, how much is being used. And of course, we've got district-wide licenses. So if you're a big school or you want school-wide or district-wide licenses in high amounts, we do customized pricing and a program for you guys to get that off the ground. We've got your billing history and some brochures that can help you, let's say, get rolling. So now we've touched on the classes, the assignments, the score editor in brief, the billing, and the next step is to reveal another little hidden gem that we haven't really brought up to you yet, and that is Music Snippet. Previously known as Flat for Docs, Music Snippet allows you to create beautiful musical sheets inside of Google Docs or Google Slides. You'll simply download the extension, which you'll have a link to in the emails, and you'll activate it here by extensions and open. On the side, you're going to see this beautiful little panel where you can then say, all right, I'm going to insert a new music snippet. I want a singular staff. And what you're going to see is our full editor opening up within Google Docs, which will allow you to create a beautiful piece of music or a quiz and send this to your students directly within Google Docs or Google Slides. You can create worksheets, music theory lessons, training plans, all of that stuff directly in here without needing to screenshot, upload PDFs, anything like that. And the most beautiful part is that these music snippets are actually stored in your Flat for Education account. And your students that you've created within Flat for Education will also have access to the snippet library and to the tools associated to music snippet. You can import scores, you can create as many snippets as you like, or as mentioned, you can go from your snippet library and use those to create a really seamless experience between Google Docs, Flat for Education, the full notation suite, and the assignments that you want to use. I hope that we've touched on everything that you are curious about, and that this little session has helped you understand more about the product. Now that we've finished going through the product, I just want to touch on a few questions that I've seen that have come through while we're talking here. So the first one is about privacy and data protection. So obviously here at Flat for Education, we take that very seriously. We are COPA, FERPA, and pretty much every privacy policy that you can imagine compliant. We've already signed a lot of privacy documents with different districts around the world, so please reach out or send us over any of those documents that may be required for us to get you online and get your students active as quickly as possible. You can find some of the privacy information here if you take a look under this help page, and this will also be linked out to in the emails that you've received after signing up for the product. The second one to take into account is the pricing. So some people have asked for the pricing, and presently the pricing is $2 per user. It's whether you're a student, whether you're a teacher, doesn't matter. It's $2 per seat per person using the platform. Inside of the billing section, which I'll open here for you, you can see a pricing calculator, so you can put inside how many students, how many teachers. It'll give you a price. You can generate the quote and pay via PayPal, credit card, purchase order, whatever is the best for you. Next up, we've got a question about what happens at the end of the semester to the students' work. So this is actually an interesting one, and one thing that is good when you're removing students from the accounts, so let's say unsyncing them, you have the option to convert those accounts as a teacher into the individual accounts, which means they will move to the individual product at flat.io. They will keep all of their scores, and they will then join the community of composers and be able to continue their path and still use that product, let's say on school projects or things where they just need to submit the documents. And lastly, one question about about buying Flat for Education and how we can facilitate that process with the purchaser. We do have documents, brochures, different demos and things that you can send over to the purchaser. And of course, if you want us to negotiate or discuss with whoever is, let's say, your senior buyer within your organization or district, we're happy to do that. You would just have to connect us via email, put them in the CC, something like this. Or of course, we can provide you with the sales deck and any other information that you may require. So I think that's all we have for now. And if anything else comes up, please, again, just email us at the email you'll see up on the screen in just a moment. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.